All right, welcome back to the Boardcast.
Hello.
I'm losing my mind slightly because I have to listen to our voices a lot, and I realize I say like and a lot, especially last episode where I talked a lot about Fallout. Don't go back and listen to it because if you do now, you'll listen to me say like and and I'm like a broken record. It was like. Oh, it's crazy.
I also found that last week I was much worse than normal. I think because I was amped up doing all these like activities before we started. So I came in like at 100,000 miles an hour, and the first like 20 minutes, it was just constant likes. And then as it started to cruise into it a bit, I think we both slowed down as well. And I think it was just too amped up at the start. We need to be more like, relaxed and chilled and move on from there.
I'm going to make a conscious effort for this episode to not say like and as much.
Now so people's gonna like notice it, like, right?
Yeah, give me a counter, and I'm gonna when I edit, I'm gonna try.
You're gonna count how many times you've said it.
Yeah.
Are you gonna count the times you've said like in referencing the word like?
I'm just scared. I'm scared now because like as I speak, my brain
just
is slowing down. I know. I just said like. Oh, it's hard. It's hard to break habits. You guys have any habits you guys are conscious of?
I think for this specifically, it's one of those things as we get closer and more used to what we're doing and more calm about it. We're still like pretty new and fresh to this kind of things, and none of us are like, I guess, super like consciously used to this kind of like media stuff, right? So the more we do it, hopefully it gets a little bit better.
I think we're more comfortable.
Yeah.
I'll go back and listen to episode 1 and realize we were a bit awkward in front of the microphone. We're better
Definitely.
now. We're better now.
Yeah.
I think it's more just awkward in general, and now I'm in front of a microphone.
Well, professional, semi-professional now.
It's funny you talk about the habits thing though, because like being in the shop here regularly, I would never eat candy outside of the shop. But the minute I'm in here, I'm like, I'll just have a Boost bar. It's like, why do I want that Boost bar? I don't want that Boost bar. It's fine.
Because you get it for free. Yeah.
I feel like I'm an autopilot because I'll get hungry, like just a little snackish, which normally I'll ignore, and I'll just find myself walking in front of the just the snacks, and then I'll stop myself and. Why am I in front of the snacks?
Am I here?
Why am I here grabbing a snack? I would normally never do this.
Yeah.
So.
I think it's when I've lived at home and by myself separately, I just don't buy anything for the house. And I can go all day and not eat, no problems. But if I prepare and buy snacks and stuff for the weekend or whatever, I'll eat it all in the first like 2 hours. It's a nightmare.
So we've got a new segment of the show where we thank our new Patreon members, right?
Yeah. So we're going through all of our patrons last week. And we've got Cow who comes down and play Commander, now playing Flesh and Blood as well. I like Cow. He's a good bloke. I keep thinking he's got kids. I don't know why. I've had multiple discussions with him about my kids, expecting him to understand. And he's like, I don't have kids around. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's right, Cow.
Thank you for supporting the cast.
Yeah, it's perfect. We're getting a like nice little slow growth there. It's giving me plenty of time to organize the shirt, so I don't have to be too much of a rush. But yeah, I think it's good. Like we're up on numbers for the Northern Boards memberships, and we're up on Patreons for the Boardcast. So feeling pretty confident right now. We're kind of just chugging along.
We've got a good variety of listeners. We've got like Magic players. We've got tabletop players. It's good.
I think it's like we're more of like a variety, like a morning show kind of deal, right? So it's like we kind of slide our way in there in the middle.
The hobby show.
Yeah.
I can't wait for us to start reporting on news so we can just know nothing about anything.
I saw that on
still blabber on
Spotify, it'll show you the top 200 podcasts in like each category, and then you could like zone it into the country and that kind of category, and then the a more localized region and then that category. So I was like, all right, if I just keep going further and further down into a more like centralized option, maybe I'll find us somewhere.
Where are we in Perth?
Well, there's actually we're listed as hobbies, and there's no one for hobbies. So
in Perth,
yeah, no, there's no tag for hobbies on the search function.
Ooh. So what are we like?
We'd have to swap it to like comedy or something like that.
Oh, okay.
Are we funny enough?
It doesn't matter if we think we're funny enough, it's we tell people we're funny enough.
Right.
50-50. Yeah.
We'll have William on the laugh track, and it just implies funny.
Yeah, true.
So, what's the number one like hobby podcast? What do you reckon it would be? Because I wouldn't call Joe Rogan's the biggest podcast, but I wouldn't call him hobbies.
It's number one in Australia in almost every category.
Yeah.
I think hobby probably like all the maybe like game nights or something. Do they have a podcast or something?
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
Game nights from the Magic
or even
guys.
like the Tolarian Academy or something. Do they have podcasts or something?
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
I feel like everyone's doing podcasts.
There's quite a few popular 40K podcasts out there as well.
Oh, definitely.
And I think because the Australian like accent and demeanor and personalities, there's quite a few quite popular Warhammer podcasts with Australian groups in it because I think they're quite appealing to the Americans and the English and stuff like that. We're a novel factor here in Australia.
Oh, definitely. I think like tabletop wargaming, like 40K podcast is very specific podcast. Like it's pretty much talking about like armies and stuff, right? Probably.
I had people in the past tell me that apparently the Australian accent was sexy. I don't know how true that is. I don't really think I have an accent, but
I don't think any of us have accents, not Australian ones. Anyway.
yeah, absolutely not, right? Do you think it's sexy, or is it just like because we're in Australia, we don't notice it?
I think
Because I'll listen to an American accent and I'll be like, shrug.
the most attractive accent is like that super British girl, like super London, like chab girl. It's like that's
Is it? Is it? It's got to be a taste thing.
Now we know what Danny likes.
It's a turn off for me, bro. Yeah. Governor.
You're not sure if you're about to get robbed at knife point or if they're going to hit on you.
Fair. I think it's just the more stereotypical, like you stick towards those like French, Italian accents, right? Like the European exotic stuff.
People have assumed that I have an English accent, like a British accent. And I don't think anyone in WA really has a true Australian accent. I think it's much more of an East Coast thing. And then you can get pretty good at like determining whether they're from like the north part of the East Coast or the like south part of the East Coast.
There it gets
Because like a Queenslander, you can pick pretty well. They're the real like, when someone does a fake Australian accent from like on like SNL or something, it's that nasally Queensland accent that they're usually mimicking. And then otherwise the Sydneys and the Melbournes, it's still Australian, but it's nowhere near as like right up in the back of your nose as the Queenslanders.
Yeah, Melbourne's quite multicultural now, right? Do
Yeah,
they
it's
still
true.
have an accent?
Super multicultural.
Yeah, you're probably right. Probably not. Nothing too like crazy.
William's just come back from that way, right?
I came back from Sydney.
Oh, Sydney, East Coast.
Sunday, I came back from Sydney, from a One Piece regional Sydney. It's pretty good. We had, I think, like 380-ish players maxed out.
They fill out a convention hall?
Not a hall, it's a town hall. So,
Town hall for 300 people is not bad.
yeah, it's pretty packed. Like, very packed.
Was it a little stinky in the end of the week?
It's just very packed. I think, like, there's no, like, crazy smell or whatever, but it's just so packed. And then...
Do they do a lot of other stuff? Was it just the event?
Just One Piece, yeah.
Interesting.
Just One Piece. I think the event was all done in a day. Usually we have a 2-day event, like a top cut and then 2 days. But I think in Sydney it's very expensive. So they made it all in one day.
They want to get you in and out as quickly as possible.
Yeah, all in one day. So it was pretty rushed and got 400 players, people there. Pretty packed.
What was
sold
exciting is I just learned recently you have your own team.
Yes,
Your
I
own
do.
One Piece.
I have a team called Team Eternal. So Eternal from the Eternal Magic. So we have a couple of players from every state. So we try to get like 3 players from every state. So why 3 is because like One Piece has like a 3v3 kind of format. So we want to have 3 players. So in Queensland we have a full team of 3. New South Wales we have like a team of 1, looking for another 2. Melbourne, we have none yet. WA, we have 2 out of 3. So
It's quite diverse.
yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah.
How did you get in contact with players from other states?
We made friends. So we play One Piece like over a year now. So once we made friends and
Tight
then
community?
yeah, very, very. And then we share a lot of info. And then, once I formed I sponsored a team called PX3, which is a Perth Pro Players. So they have a team of 6. So I sponsored that team. But they're not my team, but I sponsored that team. And they are doing really well as well. So, and then I have my own team, which I don't really manage, but I just let them do what they want to do, and they wear my gear and stuff.
I do like that you're hedging your bets. So if your team doesn't win, then the other team is sponsoring my win. You're just gonna try and hit both markers, right?
Pretty much. And the good thing is, one of my team like members won the regionals on Saturday itself, which is Elliot Charters.
So winning regionals is massive.
It's massive. It's massive. Elliot Charters, he's been like winning like top 8 a lot, but he hasn't won one yet. This is his first win. So it's a pretty good and big thing for him. So, yeah, so it's pretty good. So he won. This is like his 7th serial. Like every time you get a top 8, you get a serial card. So this is his 7th serial.
7th in a row.
Not in a row, like 7th one.
Overall.
What does
Which is
it
still pretty
involve
impressive, right?
having a team? Do they play against each other so they can?
Oh yeah, practice. It's all about practice,
Share
right? So you share knowledge among like good players. So you get like instead of just testing a lot, so you jump a lot of. So some of these players already tested, right? So you jump queue pretty much. Like you just get an access to the tests and everybody what people have done, right? So it's quite easy to just a step ahead of everyone else.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
so
pretty much.
repetition, right?
And,
How about
and,
that?
And also you get like good feedback, like why you shouldn't do this, why you should do that, and stuff like that. I guess.
Yeah, I guess when you walk into a tournament and you win or lose a game, your opponent's not very likely to like. You're always going to tell you like, hey, you could do this better. At least if you're in a team, you're practicing, you can like work those kinks out.
Pretty much what that is. Like try to like speed things up, play against a better player, so you improve yourself faster. Pretty much.
Did you mostly meet each other from events like traveling over east and stuff like that?
Pretty much. Yeah.
So how about that? What about a Northern Boards team? if we were going to get a team to represent Northern Boards for a game, what would you like? What do you think it should be?
It's like, I guess that our Flesh and Blood community here is pretty good. I think it's good. They've been big supporters of the shop here, I think, for a long time. I definitely like to see something in that kind of spectrum because those guys travel. And I think, it's hard. We're not in a big enough position to be able to sponsor travel, but you can sponsor things like team shirts and like and all those kind of things. So, but it's over time, hopefully something you can build up to that. And I think that's one of these things with the team branding and stuff around it, if the guys win a ticket to Singapore, might not necessarily be able to sponsor them that trip to Singapore, but you could get together as a community and run like a drive or a fundraiser or some way of like, we can do half the sponsorship and you can use that kind of like shop mentality to get together and find the rest of the money for them to get over there as well. And then they're representing you at that international step. I think as a small localized shop that doesn't have much of like an online presence, it probably isn't big for us marketing, but I think it's also good to support those communities, the guys that come down every week and support us essentially.
Yeah.
I think no matter what happens, we don't exist if we don't have those regulars coming down and buying packs and boosters and coming to events, all those kind of things. So I think it's important that has that spin around. So I definitely appreciate that fact from William that he can see that foresight and support those teams. And, and it does mean when you go over, travel to those events, like I'm sure the camaraderie is much better, like going out and getting dinner and hanging out in the flights is probably a lot cooler, like experience because of that. So
yeah, definitely.
So what's next for the team? So you just finished regionals? Is it Worlds next?
No. Worlds is next year, early January. Sorry, not January. March. Should be March. It follows the same time schedule. So
you
March
guys have a
2025
roadmap of competitions.
Correct. So the next regional will be in Brisbane, and then some online regionals and Treasure Cup, and then I think there's a couple more set up already.
So is the goal to get each one of the team members qualified?
Not qualified. Like most of them will join the event.
Okay.
But winning or losing is another thing. So what we want is the nationals. So nationals is usually held in January. So January 2025 will be the Australian nationals. So we call it Oceania nationals. So if you win that, you go to Worlds, pretty much. So I think that's they are opening up a more allocation for Worlds now. So I think hopefully they'll give us 2 allocation, like 2 spots, and 1 and 2 going to Worlds instead of just 1. So I think this year in nationals, the player Alan Liu won. So he went to represent Oceania in Worlds.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, pretty much.
When you were traveling around like Sydney, did you go to hobby shops while you're there?
I don't think we have time. So Saturday is a full day, right? So by Sunday we'll be back early in the morning. So pretty much we don't have much time. Yeah.
It's a proper business. You land, you practice, and you play.
Yeah, pretty much. That's it. It's just tight time, right? So we'll because of the time difference as well. If we fly at, let's say 12, we'll land, let's say 4.5 hours later, which is +2, so it's 6.5 hours later.
Yeah.
So and then when we come back, we make back 2 hours, right? But
you don't make back that sleep.
yeah, but when we go, we always lose 2 hours. If it's like daylight savings, it's like 3 hours difference. Yeah.
It's like when I travel to Sydney, go to Poland for like the work I was doing last year, you'll end up being like nearly a full day and a bit behind. And it was like a killer on the sleep patterns because you're just all over the place. And for the first like 3 or 4 days, you're just trying to catch up to where you're at. And then especially if you do a quick trip, so you hit there, you come back, you're back within a week or 2, you've changed like time zones like 4 times and you're like scattered ass.
Hey Danny, that's why you go like private jet, bro.
Yeah, the last time I came back, I was sitting next to a Romanian grandmother, and she spent the entire 11-hour trip from Dubai back to Perth trying to get me to marry her like daughter the entire time. She was showing me photos and like the photos of the kids she already had, and like she was really keen, and she gave me her address. She actually don't need to live not too far from here, and like a suburb not far from the shop.
She's scouting,
and she's like, she gave me her address, and like you should got to come around for like coffee in the morning. And I was like, lady, please. And next to me is like my 2 work partners, and they're both fast asleep for like 12 hours straight. And I was like, damn
You
it.
said Romanian. I was like, maybe she was trying to get her daughter out of the country.
Well, I was coming back.
She's already in Australia.
I was coming back from Poland, right? So it's all the flight from Dubai back to Australia, or Perth anyway. That happens at just 12 o'clock every night, every single night. Yeah. And but that it depends on what flights are connecting for that night over, and it was all the ones from that like Eastern European kind of section. So it was very much like, you know, we got on to out of Perth at the same with most of the same people that got on from like Poland or like Germany and stuff. So
what if it's a parent thing to try and find a partner for your kid? Because I've been single for a while, and my mom's like, "Oh, do you want me to find you someone?" And I'm like, "Hard no, absolutely not." I can't imagine the nightmare that is my parents going out and just like scouting for me.
What if they did a really good job though, Kang? What if they know your preferences?
Pass. Not worth it. Because like that 1% chance is not worth the 99% chance of like what the fuck.
Well, I feel like in the Indian culture, they do like pre-organized marriages, and I know like quite a few Indian guys working in the like industry that I'm in, and a lot of these guys have like pretty like solid, good relationships with their partners, and they know what's going on. So maybe there's something to it. I don't know.
Asian culture has like a matchmaking culture. Like in China, like parents will get together and be like, "My daughter, your son, let's figure it out." So.
That's because like they'll, but like for
Partner commander.
Yeah, what bonuses can you get with it?
Well, that is exactly it. It's for like the benefits, right? You have the families coming together to join the families up and share wealth and share fortune and possibilities.
Hey Kang, if she's Boros, you're Boros. Hey, match.
Nah, dude.
Does Kang remind you of Boris? Like, is that what you like?
Red, white.
Red, white from Magic. Is that the like the hard?
I don't know.
and fast?
Boros is like my current favorite color. Like you have aggro, you have heal,
It's
you
the
have
most
like
William way to
ETB.
play. He likes William likes going fast, so red, and then like Boros is the ultimate smash.
It's like removal and stuff.
Looking for that control.
It's like my Highlander deck is like Boros now. It's like I always like that's my deck now.
It's funny you mentioned that. We haven't had Highlander for a couple of weeks because we're seeing some like rough numbers. So I'm pretty keen to go back into that. Do you think we should step back in and do it at like the winner box kind of thing we were doing before, or go back to like partialed out prize support? What's your opinion?
It's a perfect thing you're mentioning this because I haven't played 7-Point or Magic in just a while. I've been kind of on a hiatus. I was talking to one of our regulars, Matt, outside Northern Boards, just like 10 o'clock after close. We're talking about 7-Point and we're talking about Magic and all this stuff. And I got super, super nostalgic for 7-Point again. So going into the, because we skipped April, going into May, I really want to get another 7-Point event up. I'm probably going to jump back in and play again because I haven't played Magic for a while. So thinking about playing competitive Magic got me tickled a little again. I'm like, nice.
The World Championship 7-Point Highlander is happening this month itself.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's in Sydney or Melbourne. I can't think.
Interesting.
Yeah, the World Champs.
Because I also quite enjoyed playing Highlander and thought about the same thing. I thought it was like, oh, maybe if I can get back involved with it, it'll, you know, whenever you or I. Oh, you know, obviously William did the same thing with One Piece. Get involved. People tend to get around it because, you know, customers like to see it, and like members like to see the staff getting involved and us enjoying the thing that they enjoy. You know, it's not about like trying to shill anything to anybody. It's about people trying to share the love for their hobby with the people that they know care. So I think whenever we get involved in a Warhammer thing or a Magic thing, people tend to definitely like gravitate to that more because of the fact that they can see that support is there. Yeah. So I thought it's the same thing. But if you're happy, like if you want to jump back in, I think that's perfect. So it's like maybe we look at running on a Sunday when I'm on shift so that you can come and play, or we do it on a Saturday or something like that as well.
I think drafted for 19th of May at the moment, which I can't remember if it's mine or your Sunday.
Also, I think the 7-Point Highlander is no longer like you need the expensive cards. Even cheaper cards now could win Highlander now. Yeah. So it's pretty, I would say that there's a balance now. Like I think maybe 2 years before, like if you don't have the expensive cards, it's really hard to build a Highlander deck. And nowadays, like even the Boros deck, like, so if you can omit the dual lands, which is the plateau, and then you get like just the mana crit itself, I think that's really like, it's not like super duper expensive, but it's still expensive, but it's not like crazy Power 9 expensive.
Because it's been a while since I touched it. Before there was, is there still like an 8-point situation where if you don't take any of the reserve list stuff?
Correct.
Okay. Is it just reserve list cards that you can't take? Is that what it
Yes,
is?
correct.
Okay.
So you can still have mana creep and stuff.
Yeah.
And you get 8 points.
So for the listeners that don't know what we're talking about, so 7-point Highlander is a Magic the Gathering format. So Magic the Gathering is played in a lot of a variety of formats. 7-point Highlander, also known as Australian Highlander, was like a fan-made format. They got really big in, coincidentally, Australia. Basically, it's a singleton format, meaning you're allowed one of each card. However, you are allowed the entire history of Magic, which sounds like you can play some pretty crazy busted cards because you're allowed a massive landscape of cards to play. However, the most powerful cards in Magic are pointed, and you're allowed a maximum of 7 points in your deck, hence 7-point Highlander. I love it because it really represents this creative aspect of being able to play with all the cards of Magic. You get the power level of being able to play with really powerful cards because of the wide landscape of cards. And you just get a good representation of that competitive Magic without needing to go out and splurge for four versions of each of the most expensive cards. So
I think especially when we were running before as well, we'd allow, was it 10 proxies or 8 proxies?
we allowed 5 proxies in your
proxies.
deck because the deck is 60 cards and we allowed 5 cards to be proxies, meaning you can go out and print them or, write them on a piece of paper. And just even those 5 proxy takes out a lot of the expenses because generally speaking in a deck, most of your cards are going to be fairly reasonable in price, but it will be like 1 or 2 extremely extravagantly expensive cards. Imagine a deck playing Black Lotus. You don't expect anyone to actually go out and buy a Black Lotus
Or
for
even,
their deck.
the guys who own one of those and then choose to play that in a deck and you see them shuffling, they're like, ugh.
Yeah, that's like
Usually
30
when
grand
they
you're
play a
shuffling.
Black Lotus, it's usually like the damage version.
Yeah,
Or the
yeah. You get a
mount
cheaper
and the
version.
MP version, right? So like it's like fairly played, like rough. Usually played that kind.
Yeah.
I'm especially nostalgic for 7-point because when I first started playing Magic, there really wasn't 7-point Highlander being played at all. And it was like me and a small group of friends just decided to pick up this niche format that we found on the internet, especially because we were getting tired of playing so much Commander. And 7-point just really stuck to us and we played a lot of it. And from that small budding community, we really kind of expanded it out. I remember I used to come down and play like 7-point for like 3-4 hours a day, just really hammering it out. That was I got super nostalgic thinking about it because that was my first foray into competitive Magic, I would say. It's because when I first started playing Magic, I tried getting into Legacy, which was a terrible idea. Legacy decks cost
Too expensive.
Yeah, Legacy deck is what, $4,000 a round, and it's a very, very
Average.
competitive format.
Yeah, I'm sure like even that was like $4,000 now or then. So it's like, what does it look like now as well in a different market for those cards?
Yeah, exactly right. A Lands deck's probably what, $8,000?
Yeah. No,
Which for-
10.
Yeah, just $10,000 for a deck. It's so.
Well, you play a
9.5
Tabernacle.
Can you
Like
imagine
4
describing
diamonds,
to
though.
non-card game players that like this way you play, you can play Magic the Gathering for $10,000. $10,000 of Warhammer gets you everything on the shelf.
Yeah.
So
I think
much.
I wonder if there's a way to market that to our like regular customers that want to try something different but want to not expend too much straight away. So like we can do, if we do the tournaments once a month, for example, but then on a weekly basis we have a casual day where you can use like all printed out cards or something, and it's just like it's a casual meetup. Like people that like come in, they play with each other. You can test checks out, and then on the tournament day we keep to say the 5 proxies at that situation, and then the rest have to be real cards. But if you do the weekly thing, is like you can proxy all your cards. It'll allow people to come in, try decks, play those games, still get involved with other people, have some haptic feedback for the deck they're playing, and then before committing to buying those cards, they can kind of get at those niches. So you're not spending $100 or $50 on a card that you might not actually want to play with it down the track. So, and I think trying to, because we have a lot of guys playing Flesh and Blood, a lot of guys playing One Piece. There's not a lot of competitive Magic at all. So I wonder if some of those people would come back around to Magic if there was a one-on-one kind of format that gave them that competitive itch as well.
with enough push and enough curious minds, people are willing to give it a try. Because the only reason I gave 7-point a try was because I was curious enough. And then something stuck in my brain, and I love that more competitive one-on-one aspect.
And it gives you like a no holds bar, right? Because 7-point you can go like, I want to go infinite.
Yeah.
You want to go infinite as fast as possible. It's unlike Commander. You don't want to go infinite and then just like everybody's like, oh.
Yeah.
You know?
It is funny, like Commander is the most popular way to play Magic by far. It's by far. But it's really not designed for that at all. It's designed to be that one-on-one competitive format. And over the years, it's fallen away from that because Commander is just like, this fun aspect of the game that has really grown out the side of it. But the game works functionally the best when it's that one-on-one competitive format. And it's like so many of the things they said, like going infinite is like kind of a downer for a lot of guys playing Commander because it represents the game ending and nobody really being able to interact with that situation. Feels like you're playing a board game and someone else has decided the game is over now, right? Whereas like, you know, so they didn't especially back in the day with older cards, they really didn't have to think about how these cards were going to interact with each other because the theory is like if somebody managed to achieve that infinite goal, then they've won the game, right? So it's like it really opens up to a lot of the older cards that do some really pretty cool, interesting things that you want to try and achieve that people could be upset with if you did it in Commander.
Going infinite's one of those things where I find it's only a real like boogeyman of phenomena in Commander because in any other format, going infinite is actually quite rare. Especially in one-on-one formats where you have an opponent directly interacting with you. There's not many decks designed to go infinite and win. Most decks actually win via like very traditional strategies of just like lowering your health down to 0 or etc. Or like even like sometimes it's like milling you out. But 7 point, I think William touched on it. It's really cool because it's no holds barred, and no holds barred also means playing with the really powerful cards in Magic. And there's no greater feeling than other formats can't let you play these cards. So you play 7 point, and suddenly there's a part of your brain that's like, wait, I get to play with Ancestral Recall.
Land destruction.
I get to play with Time Walk and take an extra turn. Yeah, exactly. Land destruction. William played lands. William played a
strip mine.
7 point Highlander
Red
land.
and 6 strip mine. Red and 6 strip mine.
How much of your Highlander deck still exists?
Oh, it still exists.
You still got it?
Yeah. My lands deck's done because I sold the Tabernacle away.
I used to play with William all the time for 7 point.
Yeah.
And
I still have my RW Moon, which is the Boros.
Well, I think like I should only assume, I don't 100% know, but 7 point Highlander is just as popular over East as it has ever been. Maybe just something we push for that, and that's something like a team sponsor.
For sure.
There's some pretty like impressive players here in WA that play Highlander.
We had the 7 point committee because the governing rules committee is like they have one representative per state. We just had the WA state representative, Kate Davison. She stepped down. So right now there's a vacant spot in Perth. Yeah, I believe she's moving to the US. So
yeah, it's open now for WA.
Someone in Perth wants to be a 7 point representative, right? So, and you get to make changes to the rules and represent Perth's scene.
But there's a few guys like Demby and stuff like that were both judges and pretty competent players. Maybe someone like him will step up.
It's hard, right? Because if you have a full-time job as well, it's like, depends how passionate you are enough to also spend more time on this.
I think it's hard, especially like for us as well. We want to be more involved in the hobbies and in the like competitive scene and the communities, but there's only so much time you can spread out throughout the day. Like where can you really put your time and where is it most valuable as well, you know?
The metagame scene is entirely foreign to me because I haven't played 7 point for probably a year now, and I look back on it and I'm like, there's so many new cards to try.
Yeah, it's true.
Whoa.
There's a cavalcade of new stuff.
But it goes back to very basic decks though. So like a lot of the Time Walk deck is just not there anymore. It's like if you see, I always checked out the 7 point Highlander the website and I try to see like the top 10 decks or the winner decks and stuff. Like it goes back to basic again. You got like Jun, and then you go to like the normal
it's all
colors
archetypes.
pretty much go back to basics.
Are you checking because you're interested, or are you looking for like what cards are going to be like pricey for you?
Not really. I'm interested to upgrade my own deck, which is the Boris deck, and I usually just checked out like if there's top 8 red white, and then just see what they change and stuff like that. So I don't have to like go research myself.
Generally speaking, a good card will stay good for a very long time, and especially like if it's a archetype defining card, right? It's hard for strip mine to not be a good card.
I do like that we're all interested in this because it's one of the few things that we maybe could all actually play together and want to do it. So maybe we find a weekend where we can get Sean back on for the day and we can actually all play an event.
Don't let William play his lands deck. Nothing tilted me more than William's Tabernacle of Pendreville. It was a $3,000 card.
He did say he sold it. So.
$5,000 card. It was a land. And all it does is make your creatures cost mana every turn.
Obviously, you sold that to support the podcast, I'm assuming, right?
So now that William doesn't have that card,
I can proxy it.
Free game for me to play against him now. So.
Well, if three of us play, we definitely know like Riley and probably Matt and a few other guys will rock up. So we can we can get 6 players together straight away. It's perfect.
I'm surprisingly nostalgic because I'll think back of decks that I've built in the past and remember how fun it was to play, and my brain starts firing off like. I've always been a deck builder at heart. Like playing the game is fun, but for me, deck brewing is my favorite part. So I got all these crazy ideas floating up my head now, and like all these new cards I want to chuck in. So
I like that a lot of the cards that I would use which are not the best, but the ones I would play, I have now got Lord of the Rings skins. So I'm like pretty keen.
You've always been for me like a red and blue player, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Classic
Yeah.
red blue reliable strategy.
The less I have to think about what I'm doing, the better off this whole situation is going to be.
Yeah.
It's all right.
And
Like
William's always, I'm going to make a deck that has the fastest win condition possible.
initiative. I just initiative till you die.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
That's why it's banned.
All right. Well, I think we should probably set that up then, because I think it's a good idea. It was like it's cool that we a hobby that we can all get back into ourselves and kind of want to do that as well.
Yeah.
And I think it's definitely a good community that in the past we've had at quite high numbers, but for quite a while we were going pretty regularly consistent numbers. But like some of the regulars that we had, they moved down south, and then people get busy and kids and stuff like that. And I think it's important that if we don't continue to force the growth or help the growth along, if you do lose one or two key integral members of the community, they're like that community starts to wind down a little bit. So we really got to make sure that we're like doing what we can to like push that forward.
I wonder if now's a good time, because we're going to have Modern Horizons 3 come around the corner and introduce a lot of new cards into most of the competitive card game landscapes. So if we drum up some excitement for 7 Point and people playing 7 Point, I wonder if that translates to some more excitement for Modern Horizons 3.
Yeah, true.
Makes people actually want to go out and pick up some new cards.
Do you think it exists better as a monthly tournament, or something that's big, or something that's smaller and we do it weekly?
I would like to try for a monthly.
Yeah,
first.
monthly
Make it an
sounds
event.
good.
Make it a real event.
It's very taxing if I would put it like, because the format itself, it's very, very competitive. So you imagine you get like land destruction 4 games into it, like it's just,
Yeah, true.
or you just get like stasis lock, like, right? So
You need a month to mentally prepare for next
that's
one.
right. That's right. You don't want to be like Commander. It's like there's a balance, right? Because it's a social game, so you don't know what everyone's going to be like. I'm going to lock you for 2 turns.
So it's funny. I actually, this kind of like going back a little bit here on this one, but when now people talk about One Piece, it's constantly talked about how that's unfortunate.
Shall we
No
edit this
matter how
out?
much we put in the effort to like really balance out the audio and have everything.
All right, we
nicely
gotta edit
set
this
up.
out.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go turn it off.
Edit out. Edit
For our
out.
listeners, we have the phone ringing in the background. Danny's run off and just to turn the phone off.
Just start recording.
Stop recording. No, this is content, mate.
Oh, okay, fine.
Give us a story, William. Come on.
What story do you want?
Tell me about the hungry caterpillar.
What?
Yeah.
I don't know that story. It's like coming off from his egg and then just eating stuff.
You don't read books, right?
Nope. I don't read books.
He doesn't play games and he doesn't read books.
He
I'm
just
not sure
works.
what he does.
He's a businessman in the most traditional.
I play some games.
I'm
Some.
just going to try and go back to where I was and start that sentence again. So hopefully you can just.
No, I'm keeping it all in.
Oh, really? Okay.
For our listeners, this is just the chaos.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
It's true. Yeah.
So we can start like once a month. I think we can get like fairly like average players.
Yeah.
Numbers.
So there was what I was trying to get to is that with One Piece, everyone keeps telling me that it's really easy to learn to play. So it's one
right.
of these things that I want to try and learn to play. But now you've just come back from a big event over in Sydney, a tournament. How big is that scale from the basic player to like a really competitive player? Is it a really big stretch, or is there just a level of consistency and luck that's kind of going in there?
You mean like in terms of like the in-depth of the game?
Yeah, like the competitiveness of it. Yeah. absolutely.
Definitely like to learn the game, very easy. Very, very easy. But to master the game, very, very difficult. Like to know what to play, because you have to understand all your opponent's deck list. So if he's playing like he or she is playing like a whatever deck, right? So you need to know in that particular color, like what variation there is, all the variation that you need to know as well. So you need to know, because there's no open deck list, so you don't know what they're playing. So you need to know all the variation beforehand. So when what you play will really depends. So there's a certain cards that react to your action as well. So if you play something and then you do something, and then if the person used that particular card in his deck, and then that card can react to your board as
True.
well.
So it's important to like know what can be
Correct.
coming up and what's going to be coming up, and what this
Correct.
person is likely to be doing.
So that's the top level skills, to know everything, what's going on and what potentially could come. So that's the main issue with like the high level of the game. But low level wise, it's just put dons and swing,
get
swing,
in and go.
swing. Yeah.
Like because we don't really have access to like if we even for a shop, it's hard for us to get like product and starter sets and stuff like that. And a few times we've looked at like I've looked at like, oh, maybe I'll just pick up one of the starter sets and play, but we get so few of them in that we realistically have to give them back to the customer. Do you have the cards on like deck where I could say give you like $200 and you build me a deck or something?
Oh no, you don't need $200. Like One Piece. The good thing about One Piece is there's options. There's the cheap option or the expensive option. It's the same deck.
So what could I feasibly build a deck for? What's the cheapest I could build a deck for?
Oh, I think like maybe $50 or less.
Oh, like done. And
William says that, but it took me $200 to build my deck, which is not an unreasonable amount.
I get,
and I was choosing all the cheapest.
You're
cards.
right, but all I need is enough is to come in and play with the community on a Friday. I don't need to win anything.
Fair.
I just need to be able to sit down and competently play so that I'm not wasting the other person's time.
Well, the new starter decks are not bad, right?
Yeah, not too bad.
But it's the same thing. We've sold out of those straight away, right?
Well, theoretically, if we had a starter deck, you could just
I think
take a starter deck and play.
I think like
You won't feel too
I think you can still build a reasonable deck. I think you can still build. I think below like 100-ish.
Okay.
Yeah, there is a lot of option now. Like because the issue with like Magic. Okay, let's take for example. Let's take Magic and One Piece. The difference, right? So Magic is a lot. When you open a pack, the probability of you getting like a mythic like Sheldred, right? Let's take Sheldred, 4-cost Sheldred. The draw card may lose 2 life, and you know that Sheldred.
They have a hotness.
Yeah. So that card is expensive, but sometimes you in the deck you need 4 of them. So and the problem with Magic is even though you open a box, you might not get one.
Yeah, true.
So One Piece is fixed. You'll get X amount of this, X amount of that.
Really?
Yeah, it's fixed. So in the case, you get like X amount. You're definitely going to get this amount, but just a normal version of it.
Got it.
Yeah, but to get the alternate art version of it, then that's not set.
So the rarity and the chase for that cards are really
Correct.
like the alternate
alternate
cards.
arts.
Got it.
So that's why the buy-in is pretty okay for One Piece. Like the prices of decks, like if you just want basic, it's never gonna go like above $1,000. It's just gonna be like that amount because everybody's gonna get the same amount of cards. So there's gonna be a set amount of cards available out there.
And how's the seasons work? Is every deck from like the start of One Piece still applicable in the current 1-on-1?
Yes.
Interesting.
There's cards get banned, but there's no rotation yet.
Interesting. Have they talked about if that's going to happen or when that's going to happen?
No, usually like Digimon and stuff, I don't think that's banned. There's no rotation, but it's going to be banned. Like cards get banned.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Because they release cards like, let's say recently, I think One Piece released like a best selection folder, which they sell, I think like maybe 12 cards, 12 or 14 cards of the best cards from set 1 to set 5 or something like that.
And you know what those cards are going to be?
Yeah.
Oh,
it's like preset, like in just alternate arts. They sell you a set price and you can buy it.
And that's really for like players who just want
Correct.
to be able to play
So
the game,
Bandai does that. Like they just reprint the exact cards. Pretty much this is how Bandai answers, like Magic answers through Secret Lair.
Yeah.
So this is how Bandai answers it.
But this product's directly targeted to people who are playing the game
Correct.
competitively. Got it.
Correct.
So me being someone that really likes deck building, going into these Bandai card games, in the past, for example, you played Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball was very cookie cutter for deck building. You play this character, you put these best of slot cards, go. There's your deck done. Everyone kind of knows what your deck's going to have. Is One Piece like that, where if I'm playing this leader, I just put this card in, this card in, this card in, and go?
Pretty much. There's a set amount like decks, like it's color fixed, right? It's not like Magic. It's pretty much like Commander. If your Commander is red, you only can put red cards, right?
Yeah.
Pretty much that's how One Piece is. If your leader is red, you only get to play red cards.
Because the fun of Magic for me was, even if I know Danny's playing, let's say, a red or blue deck, he could be playing any number of strategies involving red or blue still.
Well, it's like funny you say, like when we would play Highlander, the cards that most people were playing in their red and blue decks, I was like doing some of the whack shit. It definitely wasn't the best options you could be doing, but players would be consistently surprised at what I'm playing, like the creatures I'm playing, things I'm doing. So they're like, this is.
Yeah.
So answering to your question, right? So I could say like, let's put Magic in a similar format with One Piece. Let's say Magic in standard.
Yep.
If you are playing red, there's only
True.
So only 1 or 2 versions of red you should be playing, right?
Yeah,
If you play another version of that red, it's just not as like
It's not as
efficient.
competitive, yeah.
It does
pretty
also
much.
make the deck building aspect less daunting.
That's
for a
right.
lot of
So One Piece currently is like standard. So you have the ability to build like janky decks, but it's not going to be as effective.
Fair.
Pretty much that's the only reason why it's this card says.
What are you playing right now in One Piece?
I'm playing a deck called Black Yellow Luffy. So it's a black color and yellow color. So it's
colors.
two color, dual color Luffy. The whole deck, it's about trying to go down to 0 life as fast as possible.
Your own life.
Yeah, you want to die like as fast as possible.
Do you win if you die?
Not win. Once you go to 0, so his ability is if you're at 0 life and you use his ability, you can put 2 5-cost characters from your hand or your trash into your life.
Ah.
Yeah. So what you do is you put
It's like Death's Shadow for Magic.
pretty much you put 2 of the 5 costs, which is like usually you put characters like Sabo or Ace, and then you use this small what we call a small Sabo or small Ace, which is a 2 cost, a smaller creature, to call them out from life. So the ability is this 2 cost Sabo, right? So what his ability is if you may trash this card, so you sacrifice it, and then if your life is a Sabo card, you can put it into play.
Got it.
And then your leader gains 2k power till the next turn.
So in Magic, the colors generally represent some kind of idea, right? Like a green will represent nature and etc. and elves and forest creatures. In One Piece, the colors are more representative of gameplay mechanics rather than of an idea. Because that's why you have one character spread between multiple colors.
Got it.
So, for example, yellow is the gameplay mechanic of life manipulation.
Correct.
So gaining life, losing life. Black is the gameplay mechanic of destroying creatures and interacting with mana costs. So black and yellow, it's like, so it makes sense for black, yellow, you
Correct.
to be like manipulating your life, and the
And
black
cost.
aspect is manipulating the cost.
Yeah. So you can you do that every turn. So your leader is always going to be 9,000. So no one's able
That's
to swing at
insane.
you, and then you have a blocker in play, and then you just play that game every turn. You just keep making it. You just when you go 0 life again, and you just
Do you like
keep,
the metagame right now? Because I know we just finished set 5, OPO 5.
So the current
and the metagame was quite like top 3 decks.
Yeah.
You know.
So
ever since
it's
Rock.
gonna get better. So it's gonna be like a bigger scissor paper rock thing soon. Yeah, much bigger,
just more variety.
more variety now.
If you were to play One Piece, Danny, do you know? Because you don't really have a stake in any of the anime.
I know very little.
I don't even
watched it
watch
on
any
the TV
like One Piece
sort of
too.
on when you've had it played here in the shop, and that's it. Although I have been going through the Icon account to find pop vinyls, so
right.
I've seen some characters.
You should watch the Netflix
The movie.
live action. Yeah.
Well, that's why Kang's had that playing on the TV here in the shop. and
It's
I've
pretty
seen bits of
good.
it.
It's pretty good because that particular Netflix series, like it covers like a huge chunk of the anime.
Interesting.
It doesn't cover all the details, but
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like a general high level
It's like a scoped
like
out
a view.
kind
Yeah,
of view.
pretty much. Like you understand like, oh, okay.
That is fair. I also don't want to watch all 1,000 episodes of One
Yeah,
Piece.
but it's not like full. Like this is pretty much just like a small portion of the anime itself. But at least you don't have to watch 100 episodes, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Pretty
I
much
guess
you
it's
just
like,
watch.
it's like a blurb essentially.
Correct.
You're getting like an overview.
I thought the whole fact that One Piece has 1,000 episodes would be a massive turnoff to people. But talking to people, it's the 1,000 episode thing makes One Piece seem like a journey, like a grand epic and a scale where people will come in and they'll talk about, I'm on episode 600. Oh, dude, I'm on episode 400. And they will be like, it's almost an achievement, and they will compare notes to each other. It's just, they're all embarking on this great journey of starting on episode 1 into episode 9 million of One Piece.
Well, I think you find with a lot of what people get upset with is when the thing they love ends. So it's like this thing effectively probably for most consumers can't end because how do you consume that many episodes? So there's probably some comfort in the fact that they can start right now and in 3 years from now, 4 years from now, they can still be watching this same thing and the thing that they've engaged in hasn't gone away on them. You know what I mean?
It's a lifestyle. You're right. You're right.
yeah.
Well, I've been watching that Mr. and Mrs. Smith on Amazon at the moment, and it's a limited series, and it's got like Donald Glover and another actor in there. And
I think they're both singers.
oh, is she?
I think they might be.
Oh, interesting. Well, that was a really good show, and it's the same thing. Like it's finished now, and like my partner and I were watching it, and now that it's ended, we're like, oh, it's a shame. It's really good, and like it's done now. But it's like that next piece of media is finished. And then it's the exact same concept. Like now I've just watched the last 2 episodes of Fallout with my son last night.
You finished?
Yeah, it's finished. Yeah.
Oh, shit.
We finished it. And,
You guys are way ahead of me.
Yay!
my son was like really keen. It was like, well, I've been trying to parcel it out a little bit because I actually like the mode of watching an episode a week and kind of enjoying it piece to piece. I get a bit more enjoyment out of it. Plus, time is not always the most available thing to me. But he was really keen. He really wanted to finish up last night, which, as a 13-year-old boy, the fact that he's keen for anything at all, I was like, all right, we'll do it. So we watched the end of it, and he's like, oh, cool. Cool. I was like, oh, when's the next season? I was like,
Probably at least 2 years.
Yeah,
right?
it's gonna. I said to him, was like be 2 or 3 years because they've greenlit the season 2. So that means they haven't even started
Just
filming.
get AI to make the episodes now. Hey,
Well,
man.
because people are going to want more Fallout in their lives. Recently, the Fallout games have seen a massive resurgence of players.
I have a story about this.
Oh, let's go.
So I was going to say, Fallout 4, I think on Steam, on PC, hit its new concurrent highest peak. So there was more people playing Fallout 4 now than there were when the game released.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
So I got my computer back from just trying to murder itself on me constantly. And I didn't technically have free time, but I was going to give myself free time because I had a rough week. So I jumped on the computer and I was like, you know what? This Fallout thing's been pretty cool. I've been like the world and the season's been like really, actually I got really into it by the end of it. It was like I was really into it. So I was like, I'm gonna jump on the computer and I'm gonna go through the games. And I looked through the different games and I was like, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna play the first Fallout.
Oh,
You're
let's
starting
go.
hard.
I spent $14
Right at the beginning.
$95 on Steam and downloaded Fallout 1. And I was pretty keen. Like, it looks horrific, but that's okay. Like it came out in 1997. And what I told myself was that Age of Empires 1 came out in 1997. And that was an amazing game. Doesn't matter what the graphics are. It was an amazing game. I spent my childhood in Age of Empires, right? So I was prepared. I downloaded it. It downloaded the whole 500 megs in 3.5 seconds. So I had a game ready to go on my computer in 3.5 seconds. I started it. It is the most broken piece of shit I've ever fucking seen in my life. It shut my computer down twice.
Yep.
And it at multiple times it would get locked in a chat screen with a NPC and there was no way to exit it. So I had to shut down my computer. And also when you dip it down, it's not set to go into a taskbar. So you can't, if you windowed out, because I needed instructions. I had to fucking Google the instructions on Reddit. Find them on Reddit, right? Of like the pamphlet you would normally get with the box, so I could see what the instructions were. So I windowed out, and then I couldn't find it. It's not in the task manager or anything. I'm like, what the fuck is happening?
This is a massive PSA for people looking to play the retro Fallout 1, 2 in Tactics. Don't get them on Steam. They've never been patched. So don't get them on Steam because you get them on GOG. So there's another store called Good Old Games, which is a storefront that's generally more known for the old retro games. What GOG will do is they will take an old game and they will apply their own patches, or they will put like fan updates to the game to make the game stable. So on GOG, the games come pre-patched, ready to go, working on new systems. On Steam, Bethesda or whoever owns the license don't care. They don't care. They got your money now. They don't care.
Can you refund it?
I've never used Steam Refunded. I was trying. I can't find any way to refund it. If anyone has any tips for me, let me fucking know.
Definitely go Steam Refunded, because the way Steam refunds work is that if you haven't played a game for 2 hours, it's an automatic. You get refunded. Anything under 2 hours, free refund.
Oh, what if I tried for more than 2 hours to make it work?
You might be in trouble then. As much as I love all the Fallouts for all different reasons, the truth is, and as much as it hurts me to say, if you want to play Fallout, you probably should just go play the newer Fallouts, Fallout 4, Fallout 76.
Well, I thought I would start like
Nostalgia.
I thought the problem was
you,
playing
I
like old
respect you a lot.
games. I could like I was like in there and I was like trying to work out how to stab rats and shit. It was.
But I do respect you infinitely for like at least thinking of, I'm going to start at the beginning. I'm going to start at Fallout 1.
All right.
Because that's a task. That
Even
is
in the
very
early
brave.
cutscene, for the first cutscene for the game, there are some pretty cool like callbacks to the TV show already.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it's like the I don't know, just like some of the TV shows they've got on there, and like the just the callbacks is talking about through how things have happened, and there's already some pretty interesting information in there. So I was pretty keen. I really wanted to make it work, but
No spoilers?
It was so bad.
The Fallout show references a lot of the early Fallouts as well.
Yeah.
This is a very minor spoiler, so it's, if you don't want to listen to it, just skip ahead like a minute. But in one of the episodes, the Lucy's vault, they come out and it's like, oh, the water chip is broken, right? That's a direct reference to Fallout 1. Fallout 1, the reason why the Vault Dweller goes out is because their Vault's water chip broke.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So there's a lot of fun little pokes here and there.
Okay.
Like in the Fallout show, the Brotherhood of Steel gun that Maximus has, the 10mm pistol, is directly modeled from the original Fallout 1 and 2 10mm pistol.
Actually, it does look a lot the same.
The prop design, 10 out of 10, as I said before, last episode.
Interesting.
Yeah, like I could work through the terrible UI and then like the graphics. The graphics aren't a problem because I expected it to be like that.
Wait, is Fallout like an RPG?
It's like a turn-based, like it reminds me of Final Fantasy back in the PlayStation.
Oh, okay.
So it's like the whole game's over like a hexagonal grid, and then you move around the grid, and then combat happens in turn-based, and each different things have different actions. So you got like a bar of 10 action points, right?
Right.
And so if you're like, when I'm stabbing the rat, it uses 3 of the actions, and when I'm like stim packing, it uses 2 of the actions and stuff like that.
Right.
So it was fine.
like-
it would be fine if it would work.
It's like
It
a
just kept
resource
shitting itself.
management game.
No,
pretty
it's
much.
it's an isometric RPG. So you move your dude around in free time, and when combat happens, it becomes turn-based. Like Danny says, like Final Fantasy, and all your actions cost AP points, action points.
If you can play Fallout, you can play One Piece.
Yeah, but,
You have,
there's a-
10 dons, which is 10 resource
Yeah,
points.
action
There's a key
points,
point here, William. I couldn't play Fallout. After all the issues I've had with my computer, at some point I ended task on Task Manager, and then all of my monitor zoomed in, and everything was massive, and it was like all blown out, and my just desktop screen was the same pixelation as the game, and I was like, I've murdered my computer
again. I was gonna be careful, Danny. Your computer might implode again.
I just couldn't believe it. I was like, oh, whatever. And I was like, because I had a rough week, so I'm sitting there, I was trying to play this game, and like, you know, I'm like, it's when my computer room is as well. My like family is like nearby, so they can see that I'm playing games, and the whole time I'm thinking I'm just getting hell mad at this, and I'm not even getting my like an hour of time to myself as I was trying to give myself. So then I re-downloaded Warhammer Total War and played like 9 hours of Warhammer of a Chaos Dwarf campaign,
cool.
and then didn't sleep and regretted it the whole next day. As soon as my partner was asleep, I like snuck back on the computer. I was like,
How's the
Round
computer
two.
now with the new games?
I
like
think
Total
we're
War?
all working fine.
Cool.
All right. It's cool.
Through epic amounts of like near death, I'd say.
William also had a brand new computer a while back to play video games.
Oh,
Never
yeah.
had a chance to.
I still do.
Yeah.
I play games. I'm trying like, because now I move it, like I move away from the TV to a proper screen now. So I can play like games like Apex Legends now, which is not so dizzy on the TV.
Well, I saw World of Warcraft's going back to Pirate Land, which I'm like, that
What
seems,
do you mean Pirate Land?
was like a pirate themed expansion coming out.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Go back to like, when was the
They're capitalizing
pirate
on
thing?
that One Piece situation.
Oh my goodness. And then there's like a rubber man probably.
I don't, but that looks pretty cool. Like again, I haven't played WoW since the first 2 months.
I
of the
like
last one
WoW
to come
a lot.
out. Yeah.
Like the mechanic of the game, just no other game could just beat WoW.
to match it in there.
Yeah, and then they also did like the so-called power leveling, like the pay this to get to level 80 now.
Is it worth just
Well,
getting
I
to
mean,
late game?
I mean,
Is that what you wanna do?
So pretty much is like if you don't do it, you don't provide this service, right? People's gonna go out and get power levelers to do it. So might as well you sell it on your own and you make the money instead. And it is like legit power leveling instead of getting someone your account and getting hacked and stuff.
Because most of the fun content is at the end, right?
Correct.
When you reach max level, you start doing the raids, you start doing
I
all
would
the
correct it once. Okay, you can do the level 1 to like 80 or 90 one time, and that's
Right.
it. I mean, you just need to know once.
Right.
Yeah, you know. Yeah,
I think it's two different experiences. Like going from one to the peak level of whatever that is currently is more like a Skyrim experience where you're reading the quests and you're doing the stories and stuff like that. If you want to do that, but for the people that just want to do the end content, they aren't the same players that want that first content.
Correct.
It's like two different markets, right? So why not keep both people happy? Let the people that want to do all the fun, slow, grindy stuff and all those quests and storylines, and then let people get to the end who just want to get to the rating. Because there's plenty of players who just on the first day they power rush all the way through to get to so they can be the first people to do that end content. Why would you gatekeep that away? Especially when something like WoW is struggling to maintain its numbers, where previously they used to be in the millions and they're now in the hundreds.
do they still like? Do you still need like all the mods?
No, pretty much everything's in.
Oh, okay.
Like you can still mod things in for sure, but most of the good stuff is already on there.
So like even like boss mods are in there as well.
There are, for people who are doing it very competitively, there are better versions online,
Right.
and more succinct, giving you more data and analytical like back feedback. But if you're an average consumer, the stuff that's on there is
Cool.
is
That's
much
good.
better.
Because last time when we do rates and stuff, we need like additional data from third party mods to tell us like what's happening now.
I think from the hyper competitive guys, they still want their versions of those really
Right.
good mods. But for anybody other than that very top tier rating, everything's already.
I've seen screenshots of people showing me what it's like to be a healer in World of Warcraft, and their screen is just, you can't even see the game. It's just bars. It's just health bars for everyone.
Yeah, pretty much. I was a night elf healer.
That's what
Not
you're
night
classing.
elf,
So
sorry.
we know that Danny
Blood
was
elf.
a warrior.
Sorry,
right?
I'm a blood elf.
Oh, you're a
blood
I'm in the horde. I'm not in
Wait,
the
so what
alliance.
class did you play?
Blood elf.
What class?
Priest.
Priest.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
so healer. So I'm a shadow priest if I'm alone, and then if in the team I'll become a healer. Because healer you always get like premium spots.
Yeah.
It's like if you want to join any raid, you just click
Highest priority,
10
right?
seconds. You get 10 seconds. If you're like a warrior, 20 minutes. 20 minutes.
Well, that's like if you were a tank or a healer, you'd mostly get queued in straight away.
Yeah.
But arguably, like tanking is
DPS.
probably still more fun, I'd say, than healing. But you
I
could,
like healing.
You could secure your spot if you're a healer for sure.
Yeah.
I know that
guaranteed.
people describe it to me as like healing and tanking were actually some of the hardest jobs too.
In the early days, yeah, it was like I wasn't.
Yeah.
I did a lot, but I wasn't good at it.
Early days is harder, but now it's simpler. So all you need is someone you need like if you have like a shaman in your team, right? Just like I need the mana totem. Like if you have mana totem, like you just like heal. It's
like at the peak of the game,
unlimited.
when I was playing was Wrath, and I was always the off tank. So in a bigger raids, you'd have two tanks, and the primary tank is the one who's really doing all the hard work. And my job as the off tank was just to like pull aggro from the main tank if something was going wrong, or at certain parts of sequences of the fight, right? And so, but I'm happily that I wasn't trusted to be the primary tank at that point because I was not good enough, and I'm happy to admit that. Like it was fucking complicated, and there was a lot going on, and I'm happy just to be like, "All right, Danny, press one now," and I'm like, "What?"
I was DPS once, and then it's just numbers, lots of numbers.
Can any race play any class?
No.
No,
Okay, gotcha.
not really.
They've definitely now, when you look at the character selection thing, there's like, there's gnomes, and then gnomes can be like warlocks and wizards and certain things. But then now there's like mechano gnomes, and then those can sort of be like other versions. So they really tried to, like World of Warcraft has been in like a reduction of numbers player wise for a long time. So they've really tried to add in a lot of stuff. There's a lot of like anime references and a lot of perks and stuff like that. They've tried to make it a lot easier for players to get involved because they're looking at their numbers go down. And like recently they've got
20-plus-year-old game, right?
Yeah.
You got to give them props.
I think at the time there wasn't the competitiveness for that market. Nobody could hit anything what they were doing. But now there's a lot of games, and even if those other games aren't as good as what Warcraft is doing, which they arguably could be, I just don't know that market. But they could, like, there's still, even if they're not as good, there's at least enough of them to draw players away into doing different things. And I think even more so than that, it has to be only older players. I can't imagine new players coming, like kids 15, 16, 17, they're entering the game market. Are they playing World of Warcraft? It doesn't seem very likely.
Unlikely. They don't play Fortnite or Call of Duty, right?
Yeah, like the attention span thing is different. And I just think that WoW is just like this old. It is 20 years old. You've got like legacy players doing this thing for a long time. I don't know what the market is for a 15-year-old kid joining WoW.
I think kids are kind of heavily influenced by what's popular, and what really decides what's popular is what streamer and what YouTubers are playing right now.
True.
I used to play like really competitively a game called Rainbow Six Siege. It's a first-person shooter, like competitive team v team game, and I used to play it very seriously. Me and my mates used to go and like actually like compete in competition, and that game has been on decline. And I thought it was going to die. And then recently, there's like one of the biggest streamers in the world right now, this fella by the name of Jinxie, just started playing. Like all he does is play Rainbow Six Siege, and the player base has seen just a giant resurgence of children come through and playing it. Because all it takes is like one person just be really popular enough to start playing.
Was he popular before and he started playing Rainbow Six, or was he a Rainbow Six player regularly and then he became popular?
He did it the hard way, which is he was always a Rainbow Six Siege player. He just had a strong enough personality and he was fun enough as a person. even outside of the video game, that he just started to grow an audience.
Interesting.
Oh, that's interesting.
Because then you have people like when Fallout first, so not Fallout, when I've been talking about Fallout so much in my brain. So Fortnite, right? So Fortnite when it first came out was like nowhere near as big as it was right now. Like Fortnite came out and it was fun, it was quirky, and it was off the strength of like really big streamers like Ninja. Actually, that's the only one I know of. I don't really watch a lot of Fortnite. Ninja came in and started playing like Fortnite and got really big, but then it really exploded because you had actual celebrities come on and start playing Fortnite. There was a big thing where Drake came on and played Fortnite with Ninja.
Yeah.
And a bunch of like rappers and hip hop artists came on and started playing Fortnite out of nowhere. And then the immediate moment that happened, everyone was like, Fortnite is cool.
Yeah.
Because Drake's playing
It's funny, like when, you know, a few years ago, it was fun to, it was like the popular zeitgeist to shit on, what's it called? Fortnite.
Yeah.
But I was like, my son was playing and he's quite young. And I'm looking at it and there's all these different interactions happening in the game and like it's colorful and there's this crazy stuff and then these awesome crossovers with like Halo and Star Wars and all these different things. And I'm like, man, this game's like, this is crazy. Like imagine if when I was playing, you know, World of Warcraft and I could see, I don't know, a popular rapper like Outkast or something rap. Like I could go see them in game and play that. That's effectively what was happening with like, was it Travis Scott or something did it in there?
Yeah, Travis Scott, Ariana Grande did it as well.
Yeah, and there's like, you know, they're battling around each other on this massive map, and in the middle is a giant hologram of the actual artist that they like, that is popular now, playing music. And the thing is, like, people like to shit on it, but like, it was pretty. They were pulling off some amazing, incredible stuff. That if that happened in one of the games I loved when I was a kid, why would I not get hooked to that? You know?
Yeah.
You can never criticize the team working behind Fortnite for what they're doing for the game because they're producing so much content at such a high level of quality as well.
Yeah.
So
I wonder if like is that the thing, like this is, you know, it's hard to say it exactly, but is Fortnite this generation's World of Warcraft, and like when does that end? When does that end and that like banner gets handed
I feel like
over?
it's a product. Fortnite is the arbiter. It's the one that's starting this new generation of how video games are made. Because after Fortnite, every video game now is doing massive collabs. Like Rainbow Six Siege that I played, they did a Rick and Morty collab. Right? So you had like Rainbow Six Siege, which is supposed to be quite a tactical shooter. You have like these dudes in like Militech gear, and then you suddenly have
blasted by Morty.
You suddenly have Morty come out of nowhere and Pickle Rick come out. It's like, yeah,
See, that's fucking cool, man.
and then so every game's doing that now because
Same thing. Call of Duty as well.
Yeah,
like,
Call of Duty
they're
had
trying to, like,
Astartes. You had Space Marines. At Call
Yeah.
Of Duty.
What?
Yeah, Call
Space
of Duty
Marine
did a
skins.
collab with Warhammer.
When? Well, you can do that right now.
Yeah, so you
Yeah.
could play as like an Imperial Guard, a Sister of Battle, and I think what they did for the Space Marines was cool because the Astartes was specifically for the Juggernaut armor.
Are they going to be female custodes and then everyone's going to cry?
That might be OP. If you play a female custody, you just win the match, right? That's like calling in the nuke in COD. So.
Wait, last week, every conversation I heard Kang talking about was whether he watched the Fallout season. And then this week, every single conversation I've walked by Kang is like people talking about the female custodes. And
Dude,
it's like,
it's one of those conversations which like you only need to have once, generally speaking.
Kang is like a what's it called,
Therapist.
punching bag.
It's like I don't. I'm so impartial because even if it's like because behind the counter, especially as someone that works, you know, in a position of customer service, you know, I have to be quite neutral in my opinions anyway.
You can't have strong opinions about anything.
even not behind the counter, I'm already so like neutral of like my opinion of whether the female customers or not exist. Especially when like there was an example of like every now and again you'll get a kid that comes through who's like, you know, a little bit on the spectrum or whatever. I had one bad example of like, it was like Friday night, it was quiet and I was finishing up. And then just this kid walks in and he beelines straight for the counter and he goes up to the counter. He's like, so what do you think about those female custodes? And I was like, this is not the conversation I want to have right now, bro.
it's 10 o'clock at night. Yeah. You're trying to vacuum.
Because this, I know exactly the type of person he's going to be. He's going to be like, I hate women in my video games type conversation. So
I think if you're looking for loopholes in the Games Workshop law, like you got bigger ones to fry than female custodes.
There's plenty of legitimate criticism, but like some of the criticism is just like, calm down, bro. Calm down. So
Are we looking at time, are we, boys?
yeah,
I can see really pointing
we
away.
we started getting into a new conversation topic. So we'll save the et cetera for next
Complaining
episode.
about customers next time.
That's the juicy goss. That's the Patreon only episode.
I
Sign
actually
up
think
now.
about doing that, like, because I need to get better at what I'm using the Patreon for. So I've thought about maybe doing the link dumps on the Patreon to maybe like coax people into like signing up to the Patreon for that reason. You know what I mean? Because like we need to, the Patreon system is the best one for pulling in like memberships that way for internet community, but it's not the best for actually using that for like posting products and like putting like
Right.
links and videos and stuff on and like categorizing it. So maybe we use that. I'm going to try and find a way, or I was thinking even doing my like we use basically Facebook Messenger to communicate with our customers in store because it's just the most common way to do that. It's not the best way, but it's the most common way. But I was thinking maybe starting a Discord for our Patreon members, and then they can join our Discord. I know it's a pretty common and popular thing, but it's a good way for them to be able to like communicate directly with us or me anyway. So
Ask questions and stuff.
Yeah,
probably.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Post in the comments. I think both Spotify and YouTube actually take comments.
Yeah.
So post this stuff. We'll love
I know
to
you could
actually
do
reply.
polls on Spotify.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
I would love to take in questions and like reply to stuff. If
Yeah,
you want to know
definitely,
about all the
definitely.
boards, know about us. So I think that's officially would count as our outro. So
Cool.
see you around,
Yeah.
see you around the next
Sign up.
episode.
Sign up for Patreon, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah. Take care, everyone. See you around.
All right. See
Thank
ya.
you.